Good morning. My name is Kevin Gregg. Welcome to the show. Thank you for being here today. What do you do when you're trying to get your creative projects done, your work done, and all of a sudden you get hit by unexpected news? And it could even be tragic news. How the heck do you keep going? That's what we're going to be talking about today. I'm so glad to have you guys here on the show. Working creatives. That's what this show is. It is designed to help you get your work done. If you've not met me before, my name is Kevin Gregg. I'm a creative director, producer, writer. I help people get their work done. I have performed and presented for over 2.5 million people live, and use those abilities and skills to be able to help you. If you feel that you've got a creative skill, a creative calling, and I help you try and get that stuff done. We're going to dive into our topic in just a second, but great way to support the show as I talk about the stuff that we do here at Working Creatives. The best way that you can support us is by heading over to the Working Creatives community, which you'll find the link below in the description for this video. You can join the hundreds of people that are over there that are getting their creative work done, getting it to finding their audience and getting it to market and getting some income and revenue coming in for them. So that's a great way to support the show. You can see it in the link below. So, personal story time. Yesterday, had several things that I was juggling with client work, with some deadlines, with some meetings, and I got some tragic news. This last Easter Vigil, I helped a young man on his journey into the Catholic Church, and so I was his sponsor going through all of that, and I got news yesterday that he had passed away unexpectedly. I won't get into the details of it. I will let you know, fortunately, thank God it wasn't a suicide situation, but it was tragic nonetheless. And so on the phone with with the church and his mom, and also letting other members of our class know as well, and particularly for my wife and I, we've had the young man over to our home a number of times for dinner. I had weekly calls with him and everything. So really kind of a blindside. And without going into any of those details, I just ask that you please keep this young man, I call him young man, he was in his mid-30s. Please pray for him and his family and friends during this tragic time. So all of this hits while I've got a bunch of stuff that I've got to get done, and it really reminded me of a lot of things that I have also dealt with in the past. And I'm sure that you have probably gone through seasons like this too, that you are deep into a project, deep into a work that you need to get done, and we just cannot control people, places, or things. Things will come up out of the blue that will completely blindside us and also shock us at the same time. And what do? I think that the first, first logical step is to just go, hold on. I need to pause on everything. Everything needs to stop. And absolutely that can happen. And I will tell you that if this is something like that, this was your wife or your husband or a parent or somebody like that, or a child where something like this happened, absolutely the entire world stops. In my situation, I was, I'm about a level or two removed from it. So, again, his mother and his family and all that stuff have to be dealing with the immediate consequences of this. I'm removed far enough away that it's one of those things of going, I've done everything in my power that I can do in this moment, so now what do I do? And so perhaps I'm talking about situations where you may be in something similar to that, okay? So I think that that's something that I really want to be clear on. I completely get it, right? if you are if you're in this moment, all of a sudden you just get news that completely blindsides you and goes, I had no idea that's going to happen. I want to encourage you with something on this today, because this is actually something that I'm going through myself. For me, in the moment yesterday, the only thing I could do was in that moment was go, what's the next best thing that I can do? I, after making phone calls and letting people know whatever, I knew that I had two meetings that I couldn't cancel, right? That these were two meetings that were coming up, and I knew that they were meetings that I needed to take in order to have some one-on-ones with some people. And I wasn't bringing in the tragedy at the time, just kind of like focusing on like, hey, let me be completely present with these people that I'm having these conversations with, and just listen to them. Just listen to them and just hear about some of the stuff that they're going through, and just be in this moment doing my work. And I was really glad that I actually kept those meetings, because they did serve as, I don't want to say that they serve as a distraction. They basically made me realize, hold on a second, let me pull back and then just realize what my other work and what my other mission is that I'm doing, and to do that the best I can do in this moment with this given circumstances. And in both scenarios, I was so glad that I had both of those meetings. Then afterwards, I also had to do some client work, which again, I was very grateful that it was like, okay, I've got a block of time here. Let me catch up on this part of this project that I'm, helping a client deliver, and also got that part of it done, right? So even in the midst of these blind sides or whatever, it was, and also trying to navigate some of the emotions. It was the moment of me just going, hold on, stay on mission, stay on task for right now. That's what you can do. And and I've had this happen before. I'm going to describe a couple of other things that have happened where I've just had these moments where I get blindsided by tragic, sudden, unexpected news, and you have no choice in the moment, and just go, I just have to do the next thing. This happened with me back in 2015 when my father-in-law passed away. He was up in Northern California. My wife Kate was up there at the time. I got the news that he had died 15 minutes before I had to step on stage at a show at Disneyland, and it couldn't be canceled. You already had like a full house that was there. Again, I did this moment where I was able to have a quick conversation with Kate. I had one other quick conversation with another friend before I stepped on, and then just stayed in the moment and just went out and did the show. I didn't even let my other cast members know at that moment before I was supposed to step on, because I knew that information would derail what we had to get accomplished. I let them know afterwards, and they were incredibly sweet and kind, and helped me through it. But it was one of those moments where I just had to deliver this. Just had this happen back in October 2024. My father was going through his own chemotherapy treatments, and we're down at Cedars-Sinai as he was receiving some intensive stuff. And then I got the unexpected news that my friend and writing partner, Doug Riggle, had suddenly passed away at 59. We knew that stuff was happening with Doug's stage 4 cancer, but he had an unexpected turn of things, and he passed away. And I'm sitting in a room with my father, who's getting his chemotherapy and facing his end of life. And, in that moment, just had to go, hey, I just got some hard news, but like completely shared that briefly with Dad, but didn't get too further into the details, because my dad was going through his own, moment where he was a little bit terrified about what was coming and all that stuff. And I had to put all of those things to the side for several hours while I stayed with my dad. And then when I got out, I was able to, share it with, my wife, and talk through it with my friends, and just be able to just get through it in that moment. But in the moment, it's like, what's the next thing? I can't collapse in this moment. I have to do with what's the next thing. And then I had it just last year. in June of 2025. Oddly enough, I'd finally got the book that I've been working on, I'd Rather Be a Buffalo, finally got it ready for publication and distribution on Amazon. And, the day that it was being released was 2 days before my dad passed away. I was taking care of him in hospice at home with the help of, my sisters, my wife, my son, and wasn't able to do an entire full launch campaign, just had to sort of release the book and just go, okay. It wasn't like I could, it wasn't like I was going to say, well, I'm just going to stop releasing the book and not get it out there. It was just like I just had to do what the next thing was. And I've had this happen in other situations. I'm sure that you've probably experienced versions of this in your life. But my point with this is the work for me was a life raft, right? The work for me was one of those moments where I'm going, I'm in choppy seas. I'm in like really tragic, sad news. And I have one thing that can kind of keep me tethered to what my ultimate mission is. I had this thought that came in my mind today is, I've talked about Stephen Pressfield and the war of art and everything. But today, especially as I thought about that, I really thought the war of art, and especially when you think about it in terms of an actual war and an actual battlefield, when something is happening, when a major mission or something is happening, and there are going to be casualties and people are going to lose their lives, the other people that are involved, the fellow soldiers, or the commanders or the sergeants or the people that are there, you recognize what's happened in the moment, but it doesn't mean that you completely abandon the mission and the task and what the goal is. And that's sort of the feeling that I had yesterday while I was doing this, of like going, I have to stay on task with what the mission is for right now, and part of the mission that I have, which is about helping people get their work done, because again, I truly do feel this, again, bring it back to my my greater foundational beliefs that I have as a Catholic, which is I believe that these abilities, skills, talents, promptings that we have, that they've been given to us by God for a reason. For me, I believe that our creative work is ultimately placed in us to be out in the world, to ultimately point back towards our Father in heaven, his creation, and ultimately being with him in eternity and salvation for us all through Jesus Christ. That's my belief, right? So if that is my belief, and that's what I'm supposed to be doing in order to help people that are out there that have been given this mission or this calling or this craft or this skill, then the next best thing that I can do in that moment is to do whatever my part is in that mission to get that out. For me yesterday, with hearing the news of this young man's loss, and again praying for him and letting other people know to pray for him and for his family as well, the next thing that I could do was get on a meeting. The next thing I could do after that was complete that work that to help that other client to move that stuff forward. I got to do things where I got to, spend time with Kate. Then I went out with my sons, Maddie and Duncan. We went out for dinner last night, and that was also very healing as we talked through that stuff too. So it's not to negate it. It's not to put your head in the sand and then pretend like, oh, it's not working, and then to unhealthily throw yourself into work. But I would say this, maybe there are circumstances that are happening where you just go, maybe the next best thing for you to do in the moment is to do that creative work and is to use that life raft in order to keep going. It is very easy to go and to really differentiate and to really discern. Is this a time where I need to put everything to the side and stop and to grieve? Or is this one of these situations where, yes, there's partial grieving, but I also need to make sure that I'm also doing the work and doing what this is? one of these meetings that I had yesterday. It's not my full story to tell. It's his story to tell. But I'm so glad that I had this meeting, because on this meeting with one of these people, it's actually a member of the working creatives community. As I'm having a conversation with him, he shared, without knowing any of the stuff that I was going through, but he shared a very traumatic experience that he'd had in his life over the last several years, where everything in his world got turned upside down, and it completely changed everything. And as he's dealing with the pain and the loss and the trauma of this experience that happened for him, he just started writing. He was working alongside with his therapist, and part of this stuff was about him just writing and writing through it. And that writing has led to a longer term project, which he's gotten incredible feedback from and encouragement to say, this needs to be turning into something bigger. And that's exactly what he's doing. And he's used this pain, this trauma, this loss, first as a healing process, but then also realizing that through this, he was also creating something else that will likely probably mean a lot for other people. Won't give you all the details. God willing, he'll be able to share that story himself on his own channels. But that was an incredible blessing that happened to happen for me yesterday. While I was going through that same thing, and I'm hoping that serves also as an example for you. We get through this. The work can be a life raft. The work can be a life raft. In a moment where you just go like, I can't believe that this has happened at this moment, at this time. And that's okay. It's probably happened. I won't be presumptuous on this. I can't say why these things have happened. I won't be presumptuous that way. But there is some good that can come out of something that's that feels like it wants to make everything halt. So there you go. My ultimate point, keep going. Keep going with your work, because honestly, the world needs it for sure. Super grateful that you guys are here, that you're watching this. If this episode resonated with you, or if the work that's on this channel resonates with you, could you please do me a favor? Could you please like, subscribe, share? Also hit that notification button. It will let you know when the next show is coming out. I usually do these live on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 9:30 a.m. Pacific. It would be great to have you join us and to join in the comments that are here on the show. So thanks for being here, and I'll see you on the next one, guys. God bless you. Onwards and upwards. I'll see you on the next stream. Bye-bye.